Well, we've heard from the politicians, haven't we? No deal is better than a bad deal, or no deal is what we need, or in fact, no deal is a disaster. Many interpretations. But what are we talking about when we talk about a no-deal Brexit? Well, in its simplest terms, it's that there is no agreed destination when the UK departs the EU. No transition period, no agreed terms for that divorce after the UK has been an integral part of the EU for decades. The result? An immediate shock. Interpret that as you will, but there would be a shock to both sides, going from such a close partnership to all of a sudden dropping out of that, as it would be overnight in the presence of a no deal. Now, what would that mean for the vast number of Europeans, all of us as citizens, of course, and indeed for the countries as well? Let's go into some of the key points. First of all, money. There would be an immediate budgetary black hole that would pop up in the EU budget. Unclear if the UK would keep on paying its promised budget contributions. But also for the UK, question marks over the UK budget. The Chancellor saying the economic shock of a no deal would leave the UK having to rethink its spending plans. And of course, this sudden shock, the closest of trading relationships effectively disappearing overnight, that would lead to an economic shock for both sides as well. Let's move away from money onto the human side. We are talking millions of people who've made their lives from the European Union in the UK or from the UK in the European Union. Now, at the moment, people are able to do this, but overnight their status would change. If there's an agreement in place that guarantees their rights, things can continue more or less as they have done. But without an agreement, without assurances from governments, all of a sudden the status of these people would come into question. There will be a real focus on the governments of individual countries to figure out what they were going to do in the event of this sudden change of status for, in some cases, millions of people living in those countries. And for those people, we've seen a lot of anxiety about what it means for their future. They felt forgotten in the process. It's been a very contentious issue on social media. Then, of course, another contentious issue. We're talking, of course, about Ireland, which has a border with the United Kingdom. At the moment, both are members of the European Union. There is no hard border between the Republic of Ireland and Northern Ireland, which is part of the United Kingdom. Now, that has been central to the peace process in Northern Ireland. In the event of a no-deal Brexit, no agreement about the future, talk that a hard border could return, or at least fear it could come back, and what that would mean for the peace process. Those fears would resurface, that's for sure. But also the Irish government making it clear they have a very close relationship with the UK. In this no-deal plan that they have published, the government of the Republic of Ireland, they say perhaps more than any other EU country, Ireland would take a real hit in the event of a no-deal Brexit. But also, of course, the UK has extensive no-deal plans as well. So there's contingency planning going on, and that involves a lot of this: stockpiling. We've certainly seen it from the UK government in terms of their plans, stockpiling of medicine, foods. We've heard industry stockpiling parts in the event that open trading relations suddenly cease overnight and everybody is left wondering what comes next. But certainly one thing we are all asking is what all this would mean in the real world. Politicians arguing about the benefits, the pros and the cons, but really, it depends who you ask about what analysis they will give you. But you can see it would certainly provide a shock to both sides if a no-deal Brexit came to pass.